Okay, welcome back. It's time to get started on getting this ARB commercial bar onto the front of Pajero. Now I do have some friends coming tomorrow and they're certainly going to give me a hand, but I've had a bit of a look through the instructionals and I'm going to get some forework done to start with. This bag here is absolutely full of bits. Now we need to decipher those and figure out what's what. So we've got the instructions there. Apologies for the light again, we are in the shed. It is absolute rubbish day outside, so we're doing the best with what we can. For now, I'm going to jump into this bag of bits. Inside that white bag, you're going to find another clear bag, which houses all of these bolts. Now you're going to have 18 of these M10 bolts. That are, I think, at a 30mm. I think these might be about a 45, so there's 2 of those with associated nuts on the end. 2 of your M10s here aren't going to have any nuts at all. So effectively you've got 18 of those, 16 will have the flange nuts, 2 without, and you'll have an additional 2 same size, which will accept the same size nut, which are a little bit longer. You'll then have 6 more of these M10s, but they'll take the cage nuts. Have 3 of these M8s, I think they are, which also have those cage nuts. So you'll find 3 of those that won't actually fit. You're going to have 6 of these, I think they're M6s, and they're going to have their associated flange nuts as well. Down the front here we've got some smaller stuff. So these are 2 little hex heads, 2 shorter, I think those are probably about an M8. They've got their associated washers there as well. 4 small silver, I think they're 6s again, and they've also got their own nuts. 2 self-tapping screws finally, and they have their own little grommet things that will clip in somewhere, and then those screws will screw into those. What I'm looking to do now is just remove this nudge bar off the car. Apologies for the wind, there's nothing that we can do about that. I just need to get stuck in. So I'll get up into the engine compartment and I'll disconnect the power that's running to both of these lights and obviously the light bar here. To remove a nudge bar, it really is easy. There's only 4 bolts to it. You've got 1 there, 1 up here as well. So to remove your nudge bar, there's only 4 bolts. 1 there, 1 on the other side just there. Come up just above, or basically beside where your number plate would be if it's an original stock standard. 1 on the left side, and there's a matching one just there on the right hand side. So we're going to drop those off. That's everything in relation to the lights disconnected. Pretty much just pulled the feed point from the back of those relays there. Here's our power leads here at the front that we've disconnected, that we're just going to hopefully pull back out the front of the car. And then once I've put the bumper back on, remount the lights, hopefully I can just run these same wires back through and connect up to those same relays, and job was a good one. Alright, this is what she looks like without a nudge bar. I'm honest, actually quite like that look. Over the nudge bar itself looks a little bit more aggressive, but it is what it is. Here's what a nudge bar looks like once it's been pulled off. Again, 4 bolts, piece of cake. Pull all those wires with it, just makes it so much easier, and we'll remount those later on. We're under the front of the car. First thing to do is remove a couple of these scrivets. You'll see here, and we've also got some bolts. 1 there, 1 there, and another scrivet there at the end. So we need to take those off. The 2 bolts that you've got here are both 10mm, so just a ratchet and they'll come straight out. Go and undo these. So we've got scrivets all along the front here. So we undo those, and then supposedly this will pull out, and then we'll have some additional ones under here. Now if you don't know how to undo these scrivets, just grab yourself a screwdriver, flat head, stick it under the edge there, and then just leave her out. She'll pop out, and then if you needed to you could pop out the back, but all you need to do is just pop out this front piece, and then it's disconnected and you can pull that trim out. And you will see there's some brackets or clips that just sort of sit in the bottom, and you can just lift it out. Now we've got that front grille off, it says to come in here and just undo those scrivets 1, 2 and 3. There is no mention of these bolts, so I'm going to leave those bolts there for the time being. If they need to come out, I will let you know. The next is just 2 scrivets inside where your number plate would normally mount. I've only got 1 there, the other one has gone walkabout, so I don't need to worry about that one on this side. I just did this section on the other side, and I want to be able to show you how to do this. Just reach in behind the flare itself and just grab it and pull outwards, directly out, and you'll see that she just pops out. So just get your hand on the lip behind it and then just pull out only as far as you need, obviously, which is pretty much up to this top point of the bumper here, this lower bumper. Okay, so you've got your flares released on either side. The car is starting to look a little bit average. You're going to come in to the front here, and you've got 2 bolts here. You can see those just inside of the driver's side light, and look in and straight down. You'll see those there. Over to this side and undo this too here, and then we are also going to undo the bottom bolt there. This is in the center of the car. You can see your horns there. This is basically the retaining bracket that holds on the bumper. So you've got a bolt at the top, and then you've got another one there at the bottom. So we're going to undo both of those as well. Now, just when you're doing this central fastener here, as they refer to it, undo that bottom bolt first, because it's a bit of a pain in the backside to get to with a ratchet, and then you'll find that this top bolt will support the weight of the bumper here, and that just makes it easy to get out. To take a bit of weight off that bolt while you're working on it, just lean your hip on it and push in, and that allows that top bolt just to come out that little bit easier. So just be careful with this. This just goes to one of your horns. Just get a pair of scissors or something, pop under it, lever it up, and she'll come straight out, because that's going to come out, and you don't want that horn being connected there. Okay, so we've got the bumper partly off. The right side, or the passenger side, from this angle, came off pretty easy. It does say just to grab and sort of pull outwards and forwards, and that worked fine for that side. The driver's side, however, was giving me grief. Where that actually hides is up in behind the guard here. So when you're in here and you're undoing this scrivet, etc., down the front here, lever this forward and you will see that extra bolt is up there as well, so you need to get that. Now, in behind these fenders, flares, whatever you want to call them, are these stupid push clips that I think everybody hates. They clip into the side of the bumper here and up along that side, and then they also clip into the bodywork as you go along up here as well. You can see one in there and a few more here. Just salvage these as best you can, because obviously you're going to need to push these back in. For the install, you're going to cut some of this off as well, so when you do that, just salvage any of the ones in the sections that you're cutting off. So you can see I've got one in the bottom of that bumper there as well. So I'm going to be grabbing that and putting that aside somewhere, because I know I'm going to break a few of those, and rather than just leaving those in there and chucking them away, you should be able to reuse those and put them back in. You can see I'm missing that one on that side as well. One other thing to be aware of before you pull the front bumper off, if you've got fog lights, there is a feed point here for both fog lights, so you'll need to disconnect that. Keeping that in mind, because we might use that later on, because that's obviously going to be a switch now we've got available to us inside, so we might use that for something else. So we might try and route that back inside, and you'll certainly have to seal that up to make sure that's protected. Now we've got to pull out the fog lights, so I'll get around to that now. These are a little bit different to the ones that are, I think, in the standard. This is actually the GL model, but it had some additional upgrades. So my fog light mounts, as you can see there, are probably a little bit different. That doesn't have the full insert like others. So I'm just going to undo those 4 bolts and pull those out, because once we've done this, we actually have to refit it to the vehicle, getting ready for the cut so we can get our alignment points. Okay, so now we've got the bumper fog lights out. They do then go on to say, very, very casually, now refit bumper. So you'll see that we've got that on this side. What I've actually found is if you go and get the bumper basically into place, get the inside of the bumper under those flares, as you can see there, on both sides. So you'll see that's under the flare on the sides there. Hold it into place and then just drop a bolt in this side, which you've taken out before, and another one on this side, and that'll hold that bumper in place. And come around to either side and faff about with these clips. So you'll see, once you get those into place, I'm going to need 2 hands for that. Once you get those into place, they'll pretty much just push in, and they'll clip in to those clips there.